The Romans walk around and watch the fight and the other sports competitions. The party continues throughout the gathering area. They find Sabir among the people of his tribe. As the Siberians are not numerous, they are satisfied with the visit of the Romans. The old shaman pours a spoonful of melted butter into the fire and recites a prayer. The Siberians amaze the Romans with their throat songs and their virtuoso play on the komus, a very simple musical instrument. Everybody participate in a dance in circles with the improvising leaders. Salvian is interested in, how many days is the journey to your country? Sabir answers, we always travel with spare horses and can sleep in the saddle, while continuing our journey. He taps on the shoulder of his young compatriot. He has traveled this journey in a month. It takes 3 months, when one travels quietly. Today, it is not complicated, because Attila has organized relays and built workshops and weapons factories in Urals. The traffic is therefore much more animated than before. This is why many people come from Siberia and the Urals to sell gold, precious and semi-precious stones, sable furs, ermine and fox. Orestes says, I am impressed by the amount of vans in the parking lots around the city. People often come with their families in vans and live there while business is done. The Huns like to travel. The roads to Siberia are now less dangerous than to China and Persia. Orestes comes alive. The Romans also love traveling. I've been to Egypt, Greece, Spain, Gaul. I've seen some of the wonders of the world that are so well described in tourist guides. These books are well sold in the bookshops of Rome. Then he adds in a dreamy voice, I would like to see Siberia and even China, visit places where no Roman has set foot, see how the unknown peoples live. Surprised, Salvian looks at him and hears Sabir talking, too. In a dreamy voice, I know Italy well, I saw the Aral Sea, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean. My grandfather was to the east, he saw the Baikal Sea and the warm Chinese seas. I would like to visit Gaul. Go to the Great Western Ocean. When, in the afternoon, the military games begin, the Romans return to their place to better see them. The competitions of the different skill games, aerobatics, launch of the javelin and other weapons, martial arts and archery take place simultaneously. Wanges rejoins them again. Look, there is no competition that puts an opponent's life in danger. These people are very warlike and they cannot be given any pretext for hostility, vengeance, or rancor. According to one of the laws of Modan Khan, weapons cannot be taken out of their sheaths without the order of the chiefs, and the culprits of non-compliance with this law are liable to the death penalty. The Romans are astounded at the skill of the Huns. Each tribe has its own way of the equestrian aerobatics. The riders are often boys of 12 and even 10 years. The horse races arouse great animation and the cries of the spectators. Thus Keriko and Ita want the victory of the horsemen of their tribe. But Keriko retains his emotions so as not to vex the representatives of the other Hunnic tribes. It awards winners valuable prizes. Salvian's attention is drawn to the archers' competitions because he knows well that the bow is the favorite weapon of the Hun warriors. The Huns do not like the frontal collision. They only establish direct contact when the opponent is already unbalanced in order to carry the coup de grace. Their mobility, their ability to concentrate, their technique of harassment with archery and leek feints give the Hun horsemen a singular efficiency. The armies of the sedentary people could not crush these horsemen in the steppes. It was hoped to conquer them only in rare and exceptional situations, for example, by cutting off all possible outings during the march of their army into a valley. The Romans see that the best archers shoot a distance of more than 500 paces and the champion shot almost 1,000 paces. Salvian is admiring, unbelievable. The best archer of our legion, who came from the islands of Brittany, fired with his Gaulish bow on less than 400 paces. Wanzes explains with visible pleasure. The Hun bow is much stronger than the Western bows, and above all its string is always stretched in place, unlike, for example, Gothic or Gaulish bows. The rope of which is not placed and tense than before the battle, for a bow does not lose its performances. The Hun arc is formed of several elements associated with a wooden core laminated with tendons on the back and horn on its inner face. Its manufacture can last for several years. A wooden sole is cut in a tree shoved in the shade on the damp ground. The craftsmen sometimes make only 2 soles of bow with a big trunk. Then comes the horn sole assembly. The horn used is of a water's buffalo or an ibex. Once dry, after several weeks, the assembly is almost flat except for the levers. The tendon used also comes from ibex and other wild animals. It is cut, dried and separated into fine fibers. These are then immersed in the heated glue and then deposited on the back of the arc in successive layers. Then comes the drying phase. From 6 months to 6 years, during which the tendon shrinks and gives its double curvature shape to the bow. Salvian exclaimed, "I knew that the Hun bow is composed of 3 layers but did not suspect that the process of its manufacture was so complex. Our bows are not composite." Orestes adds, "I know that all the attempts of the Roman engineers and craftsmen to reproduce the Hun arc have failed. In addition, there were attempts to make the cast iron pieces of armaments and everyday objects, as the Huns did in their workshops in the Urals." Wanzes smiles ironically, then continues his explanations. The Huns build coal blast furnaces. The Roman engineers in this field are less skilled than the craftsmen of the people who are considered by your emperors as barbaric. But Roman engineers respect their Huns counterparts. There have been attempts to corrupt our best metal workers and gunsmiths. The knights begin their archery competition in motion. They approach the targets with an incredible rate of shooting and, after passing them, continue to shoot with great precision over their shoulders. Orestes remarks, "The stirrups and comfortable saddle give stability to riders." Salvian argues, "It is very important in battle, and the warriors get tired less during their movements. I do not think the Huns could sleep in the saddle, while continuing their ride, if they did not have stirrups and good saddles." Our officers also began to adopt stirrups and some forms of Huns armaments. Wanzes says ironically, "But it is difficult to change his habits. The Romans do not even realize at what bridge their hitch, which strangle the poor horses, are primitive. The introduction of the horse collar will make the revolution in transportation and agriculture. Look carefully at the Huns' carts and vans. The archers start shooting with arrows that pierce the armor. Salvian frowns when a mannequin of Roman officer cuirassed is set up as a target. Now our legionaries prefer to wear cuirasses in lamellas of leather." Wanzes laughs, "And since the Emperor Gratian, many legionaries have no longer any helmets. While the heavy cavalry Hun is armored from head to foot. Even their horses are protected." Salvian sees with anxiety that the Huns have arrows piercing the armor at a distance of 200 paces. He remembers Aetius and thinks involuntarily, "It is good to have such formidable friends." Then he hears again the voice of Galla Placidia. "I pray God that the sky above our empire be less cloudy." The Roman looks at the sky. The sun shines and there is no cloud above the capital of the Huns.